I would like to reassure to the journalists and the fans that this supposed plan to fraud, or what some people are calling Project 2029, has nothing to do with me. Nobody at Polonia is associated with the idea of not winning the Ekstraklasa. To reassure everyone, I will not use irregular formations, play multiple keepers in the outfield, nor shall I start an outfielder in net. Our priority to begin the campaign is to lift the Super Cup against newly promoted LKS Łódź, have a strong start to the Ekstraklasa, and qualify for the Champions League proper by defeating a club the comment section certainly won't make jokes about. I hope that eases concerns. Thank you for your time.
Media. The world is watching. Do not let us down.
No matter how easily we won it last season, the Ekstraklasa is never guaranteed. With those past allegations cast aside, those should be targeted at Raków, who lost 5-0 on opening day and were in the relegation zone following our draw with them. However, they failed to qualify for the Conference League. In reality, a lot of Polish sides are terrible at scheduling friendlies, such as Jagiellonia, who we did defeat on opening day. It's impossible to be perfect though, as we suffered a defeat to Zagłębie Lubin after a shocking goal from Kubakowski. Fears work well by ending the undefeated start of Lech Poznan. Of course, they may consider themselves unfortunate by hitting the post twice, but that's not my issue. Preparing for the Champions League, we had a window where a few main figures exited, like Filip Arak to Raków. A technical day one, that move was softened by Famalicão's Pedro Gomes and former Wisła Kraków defender Adam Buczkowski. Next gone was Kalemba, who was crucial in our early days of the Ekstraklasa. He's off to Widzew Łódź, while we used our summer foreign signing on Frode Fredriksson from Norway, the most expensive signing in our history. To conclude the business, me and the Hulkster got into a spat about him playing at striker, resulting in him saying, "That doesn't work for me, brother," as he exited for Lechia Gdansk.
We've been hanging and banging, brother!
Where he started on the left, got pocketed by Oyedele, and was humbled. Finally, we confirmed last year's loan signing Alan Burita on a permanent basis. The Ekstraklasa seemed more competitive this year, but with these encounters, how much more difficult will the Champions League be compared to the Europa? It begins with Strasbourg, a side that has consecutively finished second in Ligue 1. The fear of the French was on my mind. However, less than 90 seconds into the fixture, Góra's cross to Burita made it 1-0. Just after 5 minutes, we would make it 2. A corner in the 8th, hammered home by Buczkowski. The most impressive first half in Polonia Warszawa history will be concluded with another from the center back, leading to a 4-1 victory. Wow, maybe I was overestimating the difficulty of the Champions League. I shouldn't even have tried to go to those peasant European competitions. We lost to Atalanta 4-0. Everything they touched turned into gold. Meanwhile, the Ekstraklasa was going fine. Braces were giving us victories, including Tomczyk, Novak, and Góra. Unfortunately, LKS Łódź would get some redemption from the Super Cup, as they made us drop points before AC Milan. There was a problem. Bobek didn't concede versus Łódź. He suffered a hamstring strain, which caused me to use my backup. I don't have one. Bukowski left on a free, and Stromnik retired and became an under-19 goalkeeping coach. That saw 15-year-old Robert Wieteska called up, who couldn't play in the Champions League. Luckily, we had Laurent Sabatier, who's mooching off 65 euros a week while out of contract. I just never told him to leave. And in his only game he'll ever appear in, he kept a clean sheet against AC Milan. Meanwhile, with Wieteska, he kept consecutive clean sheets versus Legia and then in the cup at Raków. An early Fredriksson strike quieted our rivals, and a much deserving own goal had us advance past Raków. Brookbet Termalica were then defeated too. Up next were 2028 Europa League finalists, Sporting. They succumbed to Chelsea then, and would do so again in the Champions League opener. It's been rough for them, especially when their arch rivals Benfica won it a few years ago. At the very least, they got to witness Neymar play football for them. Regardless, our lineup wasn't perfect, with Góra constantly getting injured and Bobek literally forced to start while in rehab. Yet, he was making good saves, while Novak would grab a goal in an offside position. I felt confident in how we were doing, so I switched from a cautious approach after the break, which immediately led us to concede. Then, prior to the 70th, Pindor's suicide ball caused Grudzinski to be shown his second yellow. With Novak offside once more, we lost to the losers of Lisbon and would miss our best player in a crucial fixture. With Slonsk before that, our team needed to be rested, resulting in 2 shots conceded from distance to lose. Now, why is this Anderlecht game crucial? Well, it's one of the last few winnable matches, plus they did knock us out of the Europa League last campaign. Granted, him, I was at fault for that. Without our star man, Oyedele knew his role, filling in Grudzinski's boots to grab the opener. Rarely a starter, but Maxi is always reliable. Ooh, they've cast corner kick. Come on, we have 3 center backs that can defend this. Come on! Could we survive a half with 10 men? Not with a rehabbing Bobek. Anderlecht put the beat down on us, as Bobek could barely move to prevent a 4-1 loss. That dropped us out of the top 24 with 3 battles remaining. In the Ekstraklasa, we rebounded with multiple 1-0s, plus defeating Lech Poznan in the Puchar Polski third round thanks to Fredriksson's banger. Unfortunately, having to rest our team prior to Rangers caused a loss to Pogoń. With Jagiellonia defeated a week later, that brought a halt to the Polish campaign, where we were in first place above Lech via head-to-head. Let's now worry about Rangers. Consistently finishing behind Celtic during our adventure, this encounter was crucial for the both of us. Failed to earn 3 points, and we're basically out with Manchester City and Benfica in January. Sadly, we were on our way out, being a goal down. That was until the 70th, where from a corner, Buczkowski smashed in the equalizer. With 20 to go, the momentum sharply shifted, as our Champions League dreams remained alive thanks to Berita's brace. That slotted us into the top 24, and after a month of no competitive fixtures, we had to visit the Etihad. They have many familiar names, but is that Ansu Fati who was bought for nearly 300 million? My keeper gets injured a minute in? Oh, we're fucked. This time, I was able to register the now 16-year-old Viesteca, and to be fair, he finished with an 8.0 rating. That was bound to happen when our opponents had 33 shots. Unfortunately, his inexperience showed as they scored 2, which was barely enough, with Novak's late consolation strike. Prior to the match, we were sitting outside 24th, and afterwards, we were back in? Thank you, Manchester United. Entering the final match day, half of the competition played prior, resulting in us dropping out of the qualification spots. A draw to Benfica could be enough, but knowing the other Lisbon club had to face Cypriot side Anorthosis, they'd realistically finish above us. Meaning, winning was in fact the only option. Easy, just defeat the team that's done 2/3 of the challenge you're doing. Could we pull it off? Not if we defend like this. Conceding our first shot was rough, as we had 45 minutes to rescue this campaign, just for us to concede a penalty. Dramatically though, Kochku would hit the post. Soon, Guercio would nearly equalize. Unfortunately, Benfica would find gaps in the defense, making it a 2-goal lead. It was all or nothing, and despite trying our best, what can you do when you allow Moise Kean to head in the third? Once again, in an important home European night, we let down a half-empty stadium and were eliminated. We signed Ayoub El Amrani from Willem II for $2 million to become our starting left back. Yet the Ekstraklasa was inconsistent. Prior to our quarterfinal match with Śląsk, I needed to rest my team against Zagłębie, which saw Szymon Kubakowski shock us again. That's alright, as long as we're prepared and ready for a tough away game at Śląsk. It was a reserve team. Off to the semis at least. That would ensue following these 5 fixtures, in which we won 1. Surprisingly, it was a semi-rotated squad against Wisła Kraków that restored our form. Thank you, Arkadiusz Milik, who's actually set for retirement. Maybe he will join the reserve staff filled with former Polish internationals. It was time for the semi-finals of the Puchar Polski. In order to get to the promised land, we had to defeat our rivals, Legia. With them at risk of falling behind us, this was their chance to slow down our rise in Poland. In the summer, Legia sold hitman Zbigniew Pytal to Hertha Berlin, but Kasper Sokołowski was not a bad replacement as he took the lead a few minutes after the interval. It's been a tough run to this point with all our matches away from home, but we were able to respond immediately with again the Iron Skull of Buczkowski. Shifting the clock to the 65th, our new signing El Amrani smacked home the go-ahead goal. Legia couldn't respond as our first Puchar Polski final awaited. Although, we may have done too much partying, as 3 days later, we lost to Cracovia. A week later was the dress rehearsal for the final, ŁKS Łódź. But neither of us wanted to reveal our secrets. Returning to Legia Stadium, they continued to take L's as we smoked them 3-0. Unfortunately, those drop points in the Ekstraklasa for the last few months led us being placed in 4th with as many fixtures remaining, and we were the odd ones out. I can live with that, as long as we win, the Puchar Polski. LKS Łódź are stated to be our competitive rival, from campaigns like in 1997-98 to having financial problems in 2013, plummeting both into Poland's 5th tier. Climbing up the leagues, they'd meet each other on several occasions. Łódź would reach the Ekstraklasa first. Outside of our first match, we've remained undefeated against them. However, the Puchar Polski is a different story. In back-to-back seasons, we have been eliminated by them in penalties. In both occasions, Łódź would reach the final. We may have passed them on Ekstraklasa trophies, but that isn't the case with the domestic cup. We now face off again, this time for the Puchar. Managing this 11, I believe this was ours to lose. Yet as we continued to miss chances, the clock ticked quickly. Goals arrived, but in the offside variant, as this was headed into extra time. Grudzinski was all over the pitch, although didn't have the finishing touch. We then passed the 100th minute, and disaster struck. Oh no, Pindor! Pindor! Sent off! The favorite academy kid who has overperformed his ability left the pitch in disgrace. Dreams of a happy ending were fading away, but we had another cult hero to rescue us. Pavel Tomczyk had fallen out of favor. Less starts were given, as players with incredible promise thrived. Still, those two Ekstraklasa campaigns would never be forgotten, and to make sure he'd be remembered in Polonia folklore, he sniffed out an error from their defense and snatched the lead. 15 minutes separate us from the trophy. We had to be resilient, as that number lowered to 10 and kept going until it hit 6. As from a Łódź corner, Arkadiusz Milik pushed Traore for a penalty. It was up to former Rycerza Wiosny keeper Alexander Bobek, the man who must have bled red and white for his boyhood club. He's a Real Madrid supporter. Our opponents tucked it, leaving 5 minutes until the shootout. Straight away, if we lose this final, we've been dominating. This will be devastating. Białek. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Oh no, indeed. As pushing everyone forward led to a late corner. He is up. Whip it in. No, over the bar! LKS Łódź are again Puchar Polski winners, meaning they earned the Europa League playoff. So this is a situation. Łódź will finish in mid-table, causing the top 4 to correlate with these European positions. First place looked unlikely for us, which benefits my aim of achieving the Conference League. Not so fast. We defeated soon-to-be relegated Brukbet with Góra's brace, while Zagłębie Lubin lost. Lech Poznan? They drew LKS Łódź. Śląsk, however, won, and we visited them next in a potential title-deciding game as we casually scored 4 first-half goals. It was as if they didn't want to qualify into the Champions League. Couldn't be me, although they did almost come back. Lech, meanwhile, came up short to Legia Warszawa, having us level with them. Because of our head-to-head, that put us into first, resulting in 2 easy fixtures to retain the title. Home to Ruch, we won 5-0, meaning all we had to do was to defeat an already relegated Radomiak. I didn't even have to try, as despite being 5 points behind with 4 to go, we lifted the Ekstraklasa for a 3rd straight season. Lech Poznan didn't even finish in 2nd, losing to Śląsk. At least Milik ends his career with a trophy, and Tomczyk celebrates another title over Lech. The more you think about it, the more funny this is. But seriously, how can I even win the Conference League if I can't even qualify for it?